Hello, everybody, and welcome to Getting Inside the Right Male Mind. I'm Lisa Shield.
And I'm Benjamin Shield.
And it is lovely to see you. Happy holidays to everybody. We know that this is an important time of the year. So we decided to talk a little bit about the holidays and what to do if you're single, how to handle this, and how to make the most out of it. It can be a really tough time for a lot of you. And I know I had a hard time during the holidays when I was single. What about you, babe? Probably not.
Well, I think I just deflected to have quiet time and, make the very most of it. But, the difference between having quiet time and making the most of it and having a partner for all of these years makes all the difference in the world.
I mean, I think anybody can just say, oh, I don't necessarily need to pay attention to the holidays and blow them off and just get through them. But it is wonderful having somebody there and knowing that we don't have to worry about who we're going to go and spend the holidays with, even though I got sick last night and you wound up at a holiday party by yourself. I think that made you realize how much you enjoy having me there with you.
I didn't need that to know.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't come. I wish I had felt better. I would have liked to have gone, actually. Well, we wanted to talk about, how to handle the holidays. Look, this hopefully for those of you who really do want partnership will be a temporary thing. It's not like every holiday you'll be alone. And the first thing that I would love to mention to everyone out there is that there's a lot you can do, not right now in this moment. There, you're single and all. But I really encourage you to acknowledge that this is not how you want to spend every holiday for the rest of your life, and seek help for this. If you've spent many years dating and you're not getting anywhere and you're just every year, it's like, okay, this will be the year I meet my guy. Okay, this will be the year I'll meet my guy. And if you find yourself saying that year in and year out, only to wind up single again, then seek help. Go to lisashield.com, click the button on our page to watch our free presentation and book a call with a member of my team so we can help you get this solved. There are hundreds of women and men walking the planet. We work only with women, but their lucky partners get to be with them. And there's tons and tons of couples out there who wouldn't be together if they hadn't taken this seriously and decided to get it solved and sought help. So let's talk about what you can do in the short term.
Well, first, you can adjust your mindset, because it's easy to see something as a negative, as depressing, and just as easy to turn that around and to see it as an opportunity. And it's really up to all of us, because we can see this holiday time as just like, oh no, how am I going to get through it? This is awful. Or how can I make it an opportunity?
Mm-hmm. So the first thing is, I think, to acknowledge your feelings authentically and not push them away. A lot of people have what's called toxic positivity.
Right.
And they just want to put on a happy face and a good front and pretend like everything's okay and get through the holidays. And all that does is make people feel worse, not better.
Yeah, it's okay to feel sad that you're single during the holidays, and suppressing your emotions and pushing them down only makes you feel worse.
Mm-hmm.
If you need to take some time to cry or call a girlfriend for support, great, you should do that.
Or call your therapist, if you're seeing a therapist and you want to have somebody that you can just pay to listen, that's one of the things that therapy is great for, is that with your therapist, you're paying that person to be there and support you, and not, so that you're not alone, and so that you do have a safe space to go and just be authentic and say, hey, I'm having a rough time right now. And having a rough time, it's important to keep in mind, I think we forget that it's temporary.
Mhm.
It's not something that, tomorrow you may wake up and feel completely differently, but it's okay to just give yourself some space to feel sad, to cry. When we push our feelings away, either just denying them and putting on a false front, or pushing them away with alcohol or food or online shopping or whatever we may do to suppress our feelings, all that does is push them away. And one of the most powerful things we can do is acknowledge our feelings
Right.
and face them, because it's by facing them that we can then say, hey, I'm not happy with where I am, and then actually come up with a plan to do something about it.
Mhm.
If you're just in denial, and that's one of the things I learned when I went to a 12-step program for food. There's a saying, denial is not a river in Egypt. Right. I really, when I stopped using food to comfort myself and suppress my feelings, then I had all these feelings I had to deal with. And that's when I really started looking at big chunks of my life that weren't working. And I started to face those things and move forward. But it wasn't until I stopped denying my feelings and suppressing them and pushing them away that I was able to actually do something about them. Once you're not, running away from them, and then you turn around and face them, that's where change starts to happen. So the first thing is acknowledge that you're feeling lonely, that you are disappointed, that this isn't where you want to be. And then,
And then think about doing something positive, like moving energy. It's so easy to get into cyclical thought.
yeah,
And even spiral thought, where it just spirals downward. But movement, or having massage, going to the gym, running, walking on the beach, or going to a Pilates or yoga class can really help you move that negative energy through your body. When you're feeling negative, working out or moving our bodies can break the cycle of negative thinking and generate endorphins and generate something, a positive feeling.
mm-hmm.
And the more positive feelings we have, the more choice we have. When we get locked into negative thinking, into circular or spiral thinking, our choices seem to narrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they do. And it may seem counterintuitive to go and, get yourself to the gym or take a Pilates class. If you're not feeling up to it, call a girlfriend and just say, hey, you want to go for a walk, or ask a friend to join you for a yoga class. Get together with people. This is a time to be around people and with people, and not isolate. Even if that's what you're wanting to do, is just get through the holidays and isolate. I remember once I was going through a really dark time, and it didn't take a lot. I just knew I had to do something. And so I went to a yoga class. It's not something I normally do. I actually don't like yoga, but it was so out of my comfort zone. This was when we were together. I went to Izita. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember her, but when we were in Los Angeles.
I do remember.
Yeah. And I just thought, I need to do something. And so I went online. There was her yoga, the yoga studio that she teaches at was right nearby. And I just said, I'm going to go to a class. And it was so sweet. She was so happy I was there. And I saw her light up when she saw me in the room. And, I never went back again. I actually had a terrible shoulder injury, and yoga was really hard for me, but it felt so good to be in there and to just do something that was out of my comfort zone and shake things up. And it did break the repetitive downward spiral that I had gotten myself into. There's a whole thing with NLP called a pattern interrupt. And a pattern interrupt is when you're stuck in a pattern or in a cycle and you're spiraling, and you just do something to shake it up, like that. But it breaks the rhythm, and it can sometimes be a shock to your system even, but it gets you out of that circular thinking or that spiral, that downward spiral, and it can pull you, snap you out of it and put you into a different mental state.
Right. For me, it's going to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm in that state, the last thing I want to do is go to the gym.
Right.
But I know, the back of my mind, I know it's going to break that cycle. And I'm always glad that I've gone.
Yeah, that's usually mine. Sometimes I will reach out to people I haven't reached out to in a long time. I'll send some texts or just say, hey, I'm thinking about you, and connect with some people that I haven't connected with. That's another way I break the cycle. And it always feels good because I'm like, oh, they do care. There are people out there who are happy to hear from me. And so that feels good too. In 12-step programs, they say to take contrary action. So what that means is whatever you're doing, do the opposite. That's how you break a cycle. So if you're wanting to isolate, then taking contrary action would be get out, be around people, do the opposite of what you want to do so that you pull yourself into a different rhythm. And then the next thing is not to avoid parties and social gatherings, even if that's what you feel like doing.
Right. It can be uncomfortable to show up without a +1, or to be asked by friends or family, about being single again this year. If you can, take someone with you for moral support, just so that you're not just rattling around the party by yourself, that you have someone there. But, it's a great opportunity to just go out there, meet people. You never know what you're going to find, who you're going to find. It may not be the love of your life, but it may be a fascinating person leading to, lifelong friendship.
Well, and you may see somebody you haven't seen in a long time.
Right.
You may run into some friends or acquaintances that you haven't seen, reignite some old connections, especially if you're going to a friend's house where you share friendships and you see people that you haven't seen for a long time. One recommendation I would make is if you've gone through a recent breakup and you know that your ex will be at that party, and especially if you know your ex is seeing someone and maybe bringing someone with him, don't go to that party.
Right.
Don't put yourself through that. Give yourself permission to say, you know what, I just feel better not, scratching that wound. And it's okay not to go if you know that your ex is going to be at a party that you've been asked to attend. I would highly recommend taking some time off and not going. Do something else. Go get a massage, find something else to do. But don't put yourself through that, and don't think that you have to suck it up and put on a good show or get all dressed up and look hot and make him see what he's missing out on. That's never a good thing. It's probably better just to give yourself permission not to go to a party where an ex will be, if it's going to make you feel worse. You know, just take that time off. But if not, go, get out, meet people, you know, don't sit there alone and just count the seconds, the minutes, the hours until the holidays are over. Get out of your comfort zone, be around people. And once you're there, give yourself permission to be real.
Yeah. Don't pretend to be happy or put on a show for other people. Even if it makes you uncomfortable, be authentic.
Or if it makes other people uncomfortable.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, if someone asks why you're still single or why you didn't bring a date, you can say, wow, you know, that's what's really on your heart. Like, I know you're asking that because you care. And I want to let you know that that question makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, like
I wish I had someone to bring, but I'm single. I'm dating, and if you know someone who might be a good match, I'm open.
Yeah, so I'm going to repeat that again.
Please.
Because it's really a good thing to say, and it's authentic. And a lot of single people talk about how they dread being asked, you know, why are you still single? Or why didn't you bring a date? Or where's your date? I mean, it's just most people asking that question are not asking that to be rude or inconsiderate, even though it is rude and inconsiderate, and it puts you completely on the spot. And it's like, you know, for a lot of people, it can feel like rubbing salt in a wound. But if you know how to answer that question in an authentic way, and you don't want to get angry at somebody for asking it. The truth is, most of the time, people asking that question are well-meaning. They do mean well, and they don't realize how hurtful it is and how they're putting you on the spot. So you can just say, I know you're asking that because you care, and I want to let you know that that question makes me feel really uncomfortable. I wish I had someone to bring, but the truth is I'm single. I'm dating. So if you do know someone who might be a great match, then I'm open and I'd love for you to fix me up. So you're acknowledging that they mean well. You're being very authentic about the fact that that question makes you feel uncomfortable. And you're letting them know that you are dating and you're asking for what you want, which is to be fixed up if they do know somebody who might be a good match for you. One of the things that is so, so, so important, I think, for everybody to remember during the holidays is that people know people.
Mhm.
So you may be at a party and someone may have invited a friend who just went through a breakup. And you're like, oh, that guy's cute, right?
Yeah.
And
you never know who you'll meet at a holiday party.
never.
Sometimes people have family and friends visiting, and people know people. So tell everyone you meet that you're dating and you're open to being fixed up on dates.
Yeah, and seize the opportunity. One thing to remember is, first of all, people know people. You'd be shocked at one of my girlfriends. She had just gone through a terrible, terrible breakup. A guy was, or a friend of hers from England was visiting over the holidays. That friend was staying with another friend of hers. And my girlfriends told her the story of what had happened. This woman went back and shared with the guy that she was staying with that her friend had gone through this terrible breakup, and, you know, did he know anybody that he could fix her up with? And he literally said, oh my gosh, my best friend just told me the other day that he wanted to get out and start dating again. And I think that they might be a perfect match. He knew of this woman. And the truth is, if you see the two of them together, these two people, they look like they were meant to be together. And so they fixed them up, and they've been married. Probably they've been together for over 15 years.
Yeah.
I think it's been quite a long time, and they're an amazing couple. And if my girlfriend hadn't said something to her friend, and this friend, I mean, who did she know? She was from England. She was visiting from another country. So you never know. I know someone else who was fixed up by her manicurist, of all people. So we don't know, but people know people, and they bring people to holiday parties. You may have a girlfriend whose brother just broke up with his girlfriend, and he's feeling down, and he comes to a party with her, and the two of you match. You just don't know. But the other thing I want you to keep in mind is that every time you ask somebody to fix you up, you're not just asking that person, you're telling the powers that be. You're telling the universe. I don't know who's listening, but if somebody is listening out there, you want them to get the message that you mean business. You're really interested in finding somebody, and you're putting it out to the universe that you want to meet somebody. And sometimes that alone can be like a statement of intention, right? When we make an intention, it's something that we say over and over and over again to the person sitting across from us, to the powers that be, and even to ourselves, that this is something we truly want and that we mean business. So say it out loud, shout it from the rooftops, tell everybody you know that you would love to meet somebody. And I promise you, there may not be an immediate, return on that request, but keep putting it out there, because the more you say it, the more you mean it. The more you mean it, the more you will follow through yourself on your promise, on your commitment to finding somebody. The other thing, when we talk about seizing the opportunity,
well, we can, excuse me, we can take the opportunity to practice opening up, connecting with men, men of all ages. It could be at a Christmas dinner, and you could have a heart opening conversation with your brother or grandfather, and you could pretend that you know nothing about them, and really have this insatiable curiosity. And men love that. Sometimes they've never, because they don't get it with their guy friends. And it could be a family member, it could be a visitor from out of town, but just practice opening up. We think we know the men in our lives, but when we go to a Christmas dinner and pretend we don't know anything about them, and we just get curious about them, it's as if you're meeting them for the first time, and imagine what you can learn about him.
Well, and there's, I think about the men in my life, and I think about how I really don't know them. I really don't know them. And I formed opinions. We walk into a room and it's almost like the Terminator. Our brain starts we start making conclusions or making assumptions about people the minute we walk in a room. You can stand at the edge of a party and look around the room, and you will start to just make assumptions about everybody you see. Oh, well, he looks like a jerk, and I don't like I don't like the way he combs his hair, and that guy looks like, a fuddy-duddy, and oh, he looks like he'd be fun, and wow, that guy's really cute, I'd like to talk to him, or that person looks so serious. We start making assumptions about people the second we look at that person. And so something that's kind of fun, I remember a few years ago when we were still in Los Angeles, you and I went to a Christmas party at the house of two of your clients. And I didn't know anybody there. I only knew the couple that was throwing the party, but I didn't know anybody at the party. And so I walked in and I decided to try out some of my own techniques that I teach my clients on the men at the party. And I had the most wonderful time. Instead of waiting for men to come up to me or people to engage me in conversation, I would look over and I'd see a guy sitting there and I'd just say to myself, okay, let me see what I can do with this one. And I would get these men to open up to me. I made them feel like they were the most fascinating man in the room. I was intrigued by what they did. I asked them questions. I didn't talk about myself at all. I asked questions about, what kind of work they did, about who they knew there, their connections, whatever. I commented on what they were wearing, their taste. And I made some incredible connections at that party. One of the men I talked to for probably about 30, 40 minutes until his wife looked over and saw
a much older man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but no, that was the older man that you saw me talking to. I talked to another man who was probably closer to my age. He actually turned out to be a client of yours. And we had this wonderful conversation. And then his wife looked over. She knew I was your wife. And she saw how engaged we were in conversation. And she came over and pulled him away from me. She got jealous. And then at the end, when you and I were leaving, he actually came over to say goodbye to me and tell me how much he enjoyed meeting me and how much he enjoyed our conversation. So that was really funny. But I knew nobody at that party when we walked in, and I had the time of my life. I just enjoyed connecting with these men. And one thing I think is so important for women to know, this isn't about having intellectual conversations. We teach the women in our course how to open up, get emotionally naked, get men to get emotionally naked with them. We teach them how to take the feminine lead, how to mirror a man's masculinity back to him, right? We show them how to be playful and sensual, not sexy, not coming on to a man, but how to really create this beautiful spark and chemistry with men. And that's the difference. Many of you will say, well, I can have a conversation. I don't have any trouble talking to men. I could talk to men all day long. That's what I do in my business. I'm surrounded by men. I have so many male friends. And that's the problem. You have so many male friends. Emphasis on the word friends. You know how to create friendships with men. You know how to have intellectual conversations, but we are talking about getting into the heart. Notice Benjamin said a heartfelt conversation. There is a big difference between a woman who is in her head and a woman who is in her heart. You can feel, men can feel it when a woman is in her heart, and it brings them into their hearts. And that's the opportunity here. We're all waiting for chemistry and for two people, somebody to come up and for us to align and for there to be skyrockets and, pixie dust and some kind of magical connection that we've never felt before or that we've only ever rarely felt. But we're talking about something so much more real. So practice. These are wonderful opportunities for you to practice. And you can practice this stuff with anybody.
Right, exactly.
Anyone.
It doesn't have to be a guy.
Could be well, it could be a friend, it could be anybody, but it could be your father, it could be your brother. Imagine if you have a sort of tepid relationship with your dad. Maybe you don't feel much of a connection. Think about how empowering it would feel to go into Christmas Eve dinner and intentionally go in to have a heartfelt conversation like you've never had with your dad. Hey, Dad, tell me about when you were young. You've never told me. I've only ever known you as my dad. I want to know what it was like when you were younger, when you dated, before you met Mom. What were you like? Were you shy? Were you a ladies' man? Did you join a fraternity in college? What was it like being a frat boy? But get into your father's history. Get him to open up, get him to share, with you. What made you fall in love with Mom? What was it about her that made you fall in love? You can do this with your dad, your brother, your cousins, with anybody, anyone.
Beautiful.
Anyone, and you'll walk away with a deeper, richer connection. You'll feel empowered. You'll feel like the next time you go on a date with a man and you're sitting there, two strangers staring at each other, you will feel so much more comfortable knowing what to really talk about with that man, genuinely, not, superficial questions, but what if you could just open up those floodgates and get that man to open up and connect with you? So that's the opportunity. Acknowledge your authentic feelings. Give yourself permission to feel sad or lonely. Acknowledge how you're feeling. Don't push your feelings away.
And then try to move energy. Try to, it's so easy to get into cyclical or spiral thinking. And if we can move that energy, we'll move it into a positive direction rather than a negative direction.
Yeah, and then try to attend as many parties and events as you possibly can and see them as opportunities, and know that if an ex will be at a party that you've been invited to, that it's okay not to go. Give yourself permission. But otherwise, even if you don't know anybody there, get out and use these opportunities. Don't just sit alone at home and feel badly.
Yeah. And give yourself permission to be real. Don't pretend to be happy or put on a show for other people. Even if it makes them uncomfortable, be authentic. So that, really go out there, be yourself.
Yeah, and even say, I wanted to sit at home but I decided to challenge myself and get out because I knew it would make me feel better. So just know that you can be honest with people, even if it makes them uncomfortable. And if somebody does ask you if you brought a date or if you're still single and you get the dreaded question, what do you say, honey?
Well, you could just say, I know that you're asking that because you care. I want to let you know that that question makes me feel uncomfortable. I wish I had someone to bring it, but I'm single. I'm dating, and if you know of someone who might be a good match, I'm open.
Yeah, I'd love to be fixed up. And the final thing is, see these parties, these dinners as opportunities, and seize the opportunity, because you never know who you'll find there. Somebody may bring a friend or a family member and you may make a connection. People know people that they can fix you up with. So don't be shy. Let people know you're dating and that you would love to meet somebody. One thing to remember, by the way, is that more people break up during the holidays than any other time of the year. So the chances of meeting someone else who's gone through a breakup or might be newly single are higher actually during the holidays. Another thing I would love to share with you is I actually put myself online for the first time when I was visiting my brother over the holidays. My brother, actually my niece and nephew and I got online and we posted my first profile and pictures, and my niece and nephew went through some profiles with me and gave me their feedback. So yeah, and it's easy to assume that nobody's dating during the holidays or nobody's online. But actually, it's a great time to get online because, like I said, a lot of people have gone through breakups and they may be getting back out there, and it might be a really good time to meet somebody who just broke up and wants to meet someone new. And then the last thing is seizing the opportunity also means that you can practice opening up and connecting with men of all ages, with your father, your brother, your uncle, and any guy you meet at a party. Just practice taking the feminine lead, mirroring his masculinity back to him, getting emotionally naked. It's a time getting curious about these men, not just where did you go to college, where do you live, how many siblings do you have. But one of the things I love that we teach in our programs is pick one topic and go deeper and deeper and deeper on that same topic. Don't jump from topic to topic, but ask one question and then what do you like to do for fun? Sailing. You have a sailboat. Wow. Tell me about your sailboat. Have you ever taken it on a long trip? Have you ever gone to the islands or, gone on a month-long sailing trip? I've never done something like that, but I heard it's fabulous, not really, because I hate being on the water. I actually get really seasick. I'm just making this up. But come up with some topic that you can go deeper and deeper and deeper on and get this person to really open up and share his passion with you. Men love to talk about the things they're passionate about. They want to share their dreams. What is something you'd love to do in the new year? Are there any things that you said, okay, this is the year that I'm going to blank? What is that thing, that you're going to do? Read every book that was ever written by Ernest Hemingway. I don't know, but start there. Just ask a man, is there something you promised yourself you're going to do in 2024? I'd love to hear about it. Just have fun, challenge yourself. If you do, you'll walk away from this holiday season feeling really good about yourself. And if you want to find love in 2024, we can help. We have programs. We have a 12-week program that we start with called Emotionally Naked Dating. You can find the link to that on my website by going to lisashield.com and clicking the button there. You can also, if you know that you would like to sign up for a call, you can go to lisashield.com/reserve. lisashield.com/reserve. And that's how you can just go ahead and book a call with a member of my team, and they will be more than happy to talk to you about how we can help you get this solved. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Lisa Shield.
And I'm Benjamin Shield.
And we wish you a happy, happy, happy holiday.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Well, and Happy New Year's Eve. It's New Year's Eve.
Absolutely.
So happy New Year's Eve and so much love to everyone. Come back and see us again. Bye-bye.